Hello guys, welcome to my new video, and today we're going to be revealing my healer main for Shadowlands. And this, how can I clickbait this a bit more? I don't even know, man. I've delayed so long. This announcement was delayed so much that honestly, I don't even know what I want to play. But either way, it's gonna be Mistweaver Monk, guys. Think about Mistweaver Monk. They're the most complete class. There's barely any changes happening because they're so good. They're fixed. Every component is working fine. Every ability is working fine. Their mastery is so great. They're not dependent on a single ability to do most of the healing. They definitely do not rely on the one intern that's looking after them in Blizzard offices. So Mistweaver has to be the best. Okay, guys. I was supposed to start off with the healers that I'm not going to main, and Mistweaver is going to be one of them. I'm not going to be playing Mistweaver Monk in Shadowlands, at least not as my main character. Technically speaking, I will be playing every single healer eventually, but I'm going to be focusing on 2, possibly 3 healing classes at the launch of Shadowlands, because again, it's gonna take quite a while to keep everyone up to date in terms of item level, gear, and you know, all the other multitude of systems that Blizzard is bringing into Shadowlands. Because there's relatively a lot of unknowns in terms of Mistweaver Monk, I think it's almost running into a issue that a lot of the guilds already made up their mind about what healing classes they want to bring into raids. That the Monk is going to be the underdog class that needs to prove to every raid healer or raid leader that they're worth coming in. Now, my rationale, like in the previous video that I mentioned, that when I'm picking a main, I want upmost, the number one important thing is raid performance. Am I going to be brought into raids because of a class and my ability, or because of my ability alone because the class is not that great? I want to try and maximize those opinions or those choices so the class is good and my ability at least is relatively okay at that point. Making a choice between a class or a player that's pretty bad but they're playing a good class versus a player that's good but playing a class that's pretty bad is never an easy option. And again, I don't want to put a raid leader in that kind of position. So raid performance is the most important. I also want a healer that's going to be good in Mythic Plus. Again, there isn't one class in Shadowlands that is going to be, or at least is looking like to be, a god tier healer in raids and a god tier healer in Mythic Plus. To some extent, you could look at BFA and maybe look at 8.3 and maybe make an argument that Holy Paladin was something along those lines. But in Shadowlands, at least at the entry level, I don't see a class emerging at this given point. Again, give it some time, certain classes scale a little bit better. But generally speaking, Mythic Plus performance, raid performance is important. And the last thing that I really look into a class is probably their off specs. I do enjoy a DPS off spec now and again, and I do like trying out DPS when I get bored of healing. Especially, this was really prevalent in Legion, where I played a druid, where I played a balanced druid a lot because that build was so fun or so easy. So I do consider the off spec as well, especially Torghast solo content. I feel it's gonna favor DPS classes a bit more, but we'll have to see how they're gonna scale the HP. Maybe they're gonna do the same thing like they did in Visions in BFA. So without talking too much, without delaying it too much, the main character that I'm gonna focus on in Shadowlands is going to be Shaman. Resto Shaman, the blue boy, is coming to town, guys. And this has not been easy to make. This was a decision that took me quite a while to decide in terms of negatives and positives, because Resto Shaman is in a stable position right now in Shadowlands. It's not getting groundbreaking changes every week like Mistweaver or Holy Paladin was getting to some extent. Like Holy Paladin got Holy Power. So Shaman is kind of steady. If you liked Shaman in BFA, you're gonna like Shaman in Shadowlands. The changes that they got, Earthshield baseline, is great. It's honestly good to have something to do with tank healing. Would I have wanted a proper tank cooldown instead of Surge of Earth? Yes, absolutely. I don't know what Blizzard is doing that, but you can't get everything, I guess, at this point. On top of that, you're getting a lot of these like little abilities that you click once in a while, like Water Shield. You're getting, again, a huge thing like Mana Tide Totem, which is gonna improve their utility in raids. I genuinely believe that in Castle Natria, if Shaman is not getting a whole lot of changes, might actually be one of the best raid healers at this given point in terms of what they provide for the raid group. The utility is just insane. Spirit Link. A lot of people forget the Spirit Link actually has damage reduction portion to it. Mana Tide Totem, Healing Tide Totem, Wind Rush Totem, Interrupt, Purge. There's just so much the Resto Shaman can give to the raid. They don't have to top the HPS meters. They don't have to be the best healer on the logs. You have to take into account that in stack scenarios, their healing is going to be strong, at least in my opinion, unless they're going to balance something crazy. But the utility they provide in a lot of the raid fights is going to be really, really good. And for me, Resto Shaman was always a fun healer. People tend to forget that I actually mained the Resto Shaman in raids, in Castle or Nyalota in BFA 8.3 for the first half of the bosses. So I played a Resto Shaman and then I swapped over to Holy Paladin for the end tier bosses. So I have played Resto Shaman in high-end content and I really enjoyed the healing. It is very simplistic to a lot of extent. A lot of the time it all comes down to chain heal. But maybe if Blizzard is going to, like they mentioned a week ago, they're going to be balancing out, you know, all the Covenant abilities, they might bring back, or hopefully, Necrolord, Primordial Wave, which kind of gives you more splash AoE healing that is going to be easier to manage in spread groups. Sounds really, really fun in raids for me. So I do hope, at least my favorite Covenant ability right now is Necrolord 1. I'm not looking at the numbers. I'm looking at the gameplay changes and I really like it because it tries to fill the gaps where Resto Shaman is lacking in terms of spread AoE healing. So at the end of the day, I think Resto Shaman is going to be an interesting choice for me. For Mythic Plus, Resto Shaman was definitely not my main choice because I don't feel Resto Shaman is going to be the most fun Mythic Plus healer. A lot of the times it's a relatively easy 1-2 type of healing with Riptide and Healing Surge, Healing Wave, because Healing Wave, there's a lot of things that affect Healing Wave in Shadowlands, but at the end of the day, Shaman is relatively simplistic Mythic Plus healer with a ton of utility that makes it a lot more complex. I mentioned this in my favorite healer video as well. So I do enjoy Resto Shaman and Mythic Plus, but I don't think it's my driving force. My driving force for Resto Shaman is raid performance and how fun they are in raids. In Mythic Plus, I'll be able to do what I need to do in Mythic Plus to get gear, to get reputation, things like that, to get the right legendaries. Now, I did mention that I'm gonna have 2 or possibly 3 characters leveled at the start of Shadowlands because I have a lot of time to play, and the second character is going to be Restoration Druid. Now, the reason it's gonna be Resto Druid purely because of the fact that Resto Druid is extremely strong in Mythic Plus, and it's probably my favorite healer in Mythic Plus as well. Now, the strength of Resto Druid probably has to do something with the reason I liked them so much as well, but keep in mind, they are an extremely fun Mythic Plus healer and it's going to be my character that I'm going to be using to push Mythic Plus. Especially if Blizzard is going to stick with the fact that Resto Druids are the only healers that can battle res. I hope that in the next couple of weeks Blizzard is going to announce something like, hey, every healer is going to get a battle res. But if it's not, I feel Resto Druid is going to be a very strong option in Mythic Plus. Their healing is strong, they don't rely on cooldowns, they're very mobile, they have tools for every single thing in Mythic Plus. And I'm going to use Resto Druid to push Mythic Plus content with, and Resto Shaman to raid in my Mythic raiding guild. Now the last healer that I'm gonna use for my 3rd spot, I still don't fully know. It's possibly going to be between a priest and a paladin. Now the reason why I didn't include paladin in this top tier, or why I didn't main a paladin in Shadowlands, it's not because Holy Power is so bad I dislike it. The fact is, I was really getting bored of Holy Paladin Glimmer of Light playstyle in BFA 8.3. I played Holy Paladin for half of BFA, I played the first part of BFA as a Mistweaver, and I was getting really bored of Glimmer. I was getting bored of Whack-A-Mole type of playstyle, and I was honestly going to re-roll at a certain point. But Holy Paladins were so strong in BFA that basically re-rolling did not make a whole lot of sense when they were so strong for high-end tier content, so I just played with Holy Paladin. In Shadowlands, Glimmer of Light is still looking very strong. Holy Paladin, even though they received a lot of changes, the playstyle is still relatively similar. It's not all that crazy. You're still a melee healer with a lot of things to do with generating Holy Power and spending it a lot of the times Whack-A-Mole type of healer, which there's nothing wrong with it, but I've still not made up my mind which is going to be the 3rd healer, because Priest, Holy and Discipline, or Discipline in particular, is looking like an extremely fun healer. The reason why I decided not to main Discipline Priest, because a lot of people thought I might play Discipline Priest, because I was really happy about how fun Discipline was feeling. I was happy about the fact that Priests in general have a Holy off spec if you want to take it easy. Also the fact that Shadow Priest or Shadow spec is looking really fun. But in our raiding guild, there is a priest or discipline priest healer that played this for years and years, and they confirmed that they're going to be playing discipline in Shadowlands. So I'm not sure if the guild needs a second disc, so it's one of the reasons why I didn't really pick it. The fact is, if the guild decides to do double disc or something along those lines, I might be leveling my disc as a 3rd character to have it as an option. I'm not sure how the healer stacking is going to work in Castle Natch at this given point. I do feel that the raid composition is going to consist of something like a Resto Shaman, Discipline Priest, and Holy Paladin, and then the other healers are going to be based on, I don't know, maybe niches to some extent. So I'm not sure if there's going to be certain class stacking, but if you do need a second Discipline Priest, I might level a disc to help out the raid. If they need a Holy Paladin, I might do the same thing as my 3rd alt. But genuinely speaking, I've chosen Restoration Shaman. I know it might sound crazy as the card that I'm going to level first, followed by a Resto Druid, and then possibly Priest or, like I mentioned, Holy Paladin, which means that Mistweaver is going to be leveled later down the line. Now, I do really want to hear your opinions about this. At the end of the day, it is my choice, and I am choosing it based on the fact that I want to progress in Mythic raids, based on the fact that I wanted to have a healer that's also going to help me with Mythic Plus pushing. I don't want to focus on one area in World of Warcraft. I enjoy doing a bit of raiding, I enjoy doing a bit of Mythic Plus. So that's why I hope that these choices are going to be something that provides me with the most fun, but also keeps me competitive in case I want to do higher end content. Thank you guys, and I'll see you in my next